want some content? I got hot shit, but I'ma leave it to messy to gossip. Smash the like button, drop some comments, share this video, shout out to my subscribers. Let's get it on the next episode, Swahili TV. It's the Megaphone with Russell Norman. Support the channel. Hey guys, welcome to the Megaphone with Russell Norman. On today's episode, I am with the legendary Dr. Jackie Taylor. Thank you, Dr. Taylor, for being here. It is my honor and utmost pleasure to be with a theatrical and cinematic legend, the internationally known, award-winning playwright, writer, director, producer, actress, singer, philanthropist, educator, activist, and the founder of the historic Black Ensemble Theater, a Chicago icon, the queen from Cabrini Greene, Dr. Jackie Taylor.
I like the last part.
Okay,
queen
right up.
from Cabrini Greene. All right, that's a good one.
Thank you for this opportunity.
It is my pleasure.
Thank you. So I just wanted to start from the beginning. We're both Chicago natives. Tell me about your upbringing on the west side of Chicago and in the Cabrini Greene projects.
Well, I grew up on both the west side when I was very young. Mm-hmm. What I remember about it is that it was a community, and it had a whole bunch of kids in it.
Right.
And we had a little club that they kept us busy. Mm-hmm. Then we moved to Cabrini when I was in the second grade. Okay. And that's where I grew up from my very young age all the way until I graduated from high school. And Cabrini also was a community. You could find everything in it that you desired, the good and the bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, did you catch the acting bug early? I mean, what was your influences when you were younger coming up?
I was always an actress, always. I remember going into my closet, and this was before I could read or write, but making plays, even though I didn't know what they were. And in my closet, I would just shut the door and I'd play all these characters. Mm-hmm. And then as I got older and I started writing, I wrote my first full-length play in the second grade.
Oh, wow.
It was called The Swinging Wizard of Oz.
The Swinging
Wizard of Oz.
Wow. I'm a grown man and I still ain't wrote my full play yet. So you were doing this in second grade?
Yes.
Wow. Now, what was The Swinging Wizard of Oz about?
It was the Wizard of Oz. Mm-hmm. I had seen it, the Judy Garland version on television, and I wanted to write my own. And in my own version, Toto talked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talking dog.
He talked and he sang.
Okay. Okay, that's interesting because I seen an article where you talked about how you wrote a new Cinderella, a black Cinderella, I believe.
It's called The Other Cinderella.
The Other Cinderella.
Yes.
And you talked about how you seen 250 black faces looking at you and you wanted to give them something to look forward to. You know, a black version for the young black child. Tell me about that.
Well, I'm also a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, in my very early teacher experience, I was given my first class. And historically, what happens is when you're the new kid on the block, you get what everybody else don't want. Mm-hmm. And so I had a class of second graders who had failed.
Oh, wow.
And
that sounds like a movie.
And teacher training does not prepare you to teach students, young people. It prepares you to teach subjects. And I was not equipped to handle a group of very angry second graders who had been labeled as so many different things. So I tried everything in the book and nothing was working. And I decided they were just running around and just acting crazy. And I said, okay, I don't know what to do here. So you all tell me. Y'all smarter than me. Tell me, what do you want to do? How do you want to learn? And Cinderella, the Rodgers and Hammerstein Cinderella had just been on TV, so all of the kids had seen it.
Right.
And they said, well, we want to do Cinderella. And I said, okay.
What school was this?
This was at a school called Bird School in Cabrini. And I said, okay, well, we can't do that Cinderella that you saw. We have to do the other Cinderella. We have to do a Cinderella that reflects us and who we are as African Americans. And through the other Cinderella, we developed the story, and I taught them how to read, write, math, science, all through this play, history. And we actually put on their version of the other Cinderella.
Was it a success?
For the students, absolutely.
Right on.
Absolutely. Their grades, they went up 2 grades.
Oh, wow.
All of them.
So you definitely seen the impact, and through the arts, because you're the head of a few organizations that promote the arts in school, aren't you?
Yes, I'm the president of the African American Arts Alliance of Chicago.
I love that alliance.
Thank you. And I'm on the board of the Betty Shabazz International School. So, yeah, I do a lot of work in education.
Okay. Now, speaking of education, when you were younger, besides, just your love for it, what was your first real introduction to the arts in general?
In school, there was a shotgun, there was what did they call it? It was a wedding. It was in the 1st grade. And we staged a wedding. And the bride, I wanted to be the bride because the bride had lines.
Oh, wow. So you were a true actress.
Oh,
even
yeah,
then,
I wanted some lines. And
okay.
The teacher told me I couldn't be the bride, that I was the bridesmaid, and that was a good part. And
such is life.
yeah, but when I got on stage, when the bride said, I do, and I said, I do too. And the audience went crazy.
So that was it, right?
And that was the beginning.
Yeah, that was the bug right there, wasn't it? I bet it was. So tell me about your mom and dad and your siblings. Did they support you with that? Because, I'm going to get to, of course, your first big break. But how was that when you were a very tiny actress coming up?
My dad was a musician.
What's his name?
Gus L. Taylor.
Gus L. Taylor.
Right. That was his name.
Okay.
And he was a comedian. Okay. And he was in and out of our lives. He wasn't an absentee dad, but he wasn't a dad that was there either. Mm-hmm. But he let us know that he loved us, and him and my mother had 7 children. Okay. So I don't know why they didn't get along, or
7 kids would do that, right?
Hey. And my mom, her name was Lucille Taylor.
Lucille Taylor.
Well, actually, Lucille Ward. Then she married my dad.
Right.
And my mom was a highly, highly intelligent woman in a very racist society.
Yes.
She was very dark-skinned, and because she was very dark-skinned, her family, her siblings, we have this, we still have it today, we still have this slave syndrome of being separated by color.
Yeah, that colorism.
And how they managed to pit us against each other using psychology and philosophy, and even religion. Mm-hmm. And today we still have that we still call ourselves different depending on the color of our skin, the lightness or the darkness or the hair or the whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's a sickness that we after you've been dehumanized for 450 years, it's very difficult to overcome what that does to you. Yes. As a person, and what that does to you as a race.
And that's interesting, because when I said it's hard to raise 7 kids, I was imagining back then, what decade was that?
Well, I was born in 51.
Okay, so you had older brothers and sisters.
Right, in the 50s.
The 40s, the 50s, mm-hmm. A black man, like you said, in and out, and a mom who's very dark-skinned, raising a lot of kids in Chicago. It must have been rough.
It was difficult. Mm-hmm. It was difficult, but my mother was very, very strong.
Right on.
And in fact, she always wanted her bachelor's degree, and when she turned 60, she got it.
Oh wow! Congrats on that. What from what school? Like, what did she do around in her 50s to pursue that education?
She was in nursing.
Okay.
That much I know. She was in nursing.
Okay, great. So it must have not have been a lot of opportunities back then. So what made you be bold enough to feel that you can have your own Black Ensemble Theater and be this pioneer in the field, especially in Chicago, as a black actress, a playwright, a writer, a director, etc.?
I think it was my mother and my father were very different in terms of raising us.
Okay.
And my mother did not. She used to always say, "Okay, yes, we live in the projects. We don't have any money, but we are not poor and we are not project people."
Sound like my mama.
We're not going to take on the negative aspects, and whatever it is that you want to do, that you want to be, you can do that, and you can be that. And I received that kind of support, and when you have that kind of support, you know that you can be whatever it is that you want to be.
And what did you really want to be back then? Is this something that you knew, like, I'm going to be this great actress?
I wanted to be the first black woman to receive the Academy Award for acting as Best Actress. That was it. My speech was ready, everything.
You still have that speech?
No, but I'm mad at Holly Berry.
Oh, why is that?
Because she got this award. I'm not mad, of course not.
Of course,
you
yeah.
know.
You
But-
know Holly Berry? Have you met her?
No, I do not.
Okay. And I wanted to ask you about some people you met. I'll do that a little, later. I was thinking about, were there a lot of outlets for a young actress in Chicago back then?
Well, in my community, there are outlets. People say, "Oh, it's the crime is so horrible, and the kids are so horrible, and blah 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 blah
Especially
blah."
today.
Whereas, what we're dealing with is the lack of opportunity within the community.
Especially today.
If we had opportunities, and this is based off of the systematic racism that exists in this society, in that we are still the people that are denied, that are the lowest on the totem pole in terms of so many different opportunities. But what I had growing up was opportunity. I had a park district. And Seward Park. And Seward Park had music teacher, dance teacher, acting teacher. I must have been about 8 or 9, and we were outside throwing bricks at windows. That was the fun thing to do. Crazy. And we threw a brick at Seward Park, and this man came out. And people were scared of us, 8 and 9 years old, come on. But they were scared. And we were not used to people standing up to us. We were used to them, you kids better get, you could tell. Kids are very, very highly, highly intelligent beings. And he came out. And so, we big and bad, we stood there, and he started coming toward us. And he wasn't looking scared or nothing. And we started running. And I was the slowest one.
Oh, wow.
And he caught me. And he said, okay. He said, I'm going to give you some choices here. He said, I could do what you're used to. I can call the police. I can threaten you with the juvenile home. I can throw all the threats at you in the world. And that will get us nothing. He said, it might land you in the juvie home, because you got a lot of friends in there, which was very true. And that's not a pleasant place. And he said, or you can come into the park, you can come into the field house, and you can take drama class.
Oh, wow.
And I thought about it. I didn't know what drama class was.
So it was like an arrest or drama class?
Or drama class. And I said, I want to go to drama class.
Good choice.
And that was the beginning of my opportunities. There were a lot of opportunities. There always is a lot of opportunities. You either have to look for them or you create them yourself.
And that's the problem, right?
Right.
You gotta find them. So did you ever get to speak to that gentleman later in life and he saw your success?
Mr. Houston, his name is John Houston.
John Houston.
Mr. John Houston followed me all the way of my career.
Yeah.
All the way to when he was getting ready to transition from this life.
God bless.
His kids brought him here. And I got to see him and hug him and tell him how much I loved him and how he saved my life. And
Mr. John Houston.
this is what he helped to do.
God bless him.
Yep.
Because I was going to ask you about your first acting teacher, or who's your favorite acting teacher?
Sidney Poitier.
we have to talk about Sir Portier. Please tell me, you were into Sir with Love. Was that part 2?
I did 2 films with Mr. Portier.
Which films were those?
To Serve with Love Part 2 and The Father Clement Story.
Please tell me about Mr. Portier.
Oh my God. I learned so much from him as an actor and a director.
Yes.
He was very gracious and very giving, very spiritual and very honest, very strong, very open, and to work with him was astonishing.
I bet.
Yeah. So all of my roles that I played in the films the scenes were all with him. So I got to be with him a lot on the set. And like I said, he was indeed he was the best teacher that I ever had.
Tell me an interesting story about To Sir with Love Part 2 when you were on the set. Something, a nice story about you and Mr. Portier.
Oh boy. There was one scene where it was very difficult. And
which scene was that?
When he came to the house and I had to tell my son to lead him to my other son. And they were having difficulty capturing it. And he just very smoothly, very effortlessly led me into the feelings that I needed to have in order to play this part. And it was seamless. So by the time that they said action, I was the character.
Right.
And it was all because of what he did in transitioning me from who I was to who they needed me to be.